Okay, too. Hey, good afternoon. I, first of all, need to apologize to all of you who have been waiting because I totally lost track of time. And had it not been for Fran calling me and messaging me and, pretty much doing anything she could to communicate with me that it was past time to start, I would not be here still. So, thank you, Fran, and thank you everybody who is still hanging around. Or if you're watching this in the replay, well, you didn't miss anything, so this thank you doesn't go to you. So, Fran, how are you?
I am.
You are
I'm here.
okay. That's a
I'm
good
plugging
start.
along.
It's dark. Are you
It's
not
dark.
feeling well?
It's dark. Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
No, it's
I
okay.
don't know. I just didn't think it through very well. And maybe. No, this is not my water. Mine's the other cup in my room. Sorry, I was trying to get water. No, I my blinds had been closed. Remember, I was on an adventure.
Uh-huh. You were.
I was taking care of. Guess what I was taking care of?
Hopefully yourself.
My mental health.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, you're not coming in through my earbuds. You're coming in from I have a new setup. Can you tell I have a different
Yes.
background now?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I had my wireless earbuds plugged in earlier,
Uh-huh.
but now they were too loud and I couldn't figure out how to turn them down because I don't have the app in my phone and it's all a weird thing. So I turned those
You
down,
have to
but
go in your audio settings and fix it that way.
yeah, you're right. Um,
But that's okay.
so keep talking. Sorry, I'm just
Okay.
gonna try to.
So you can't hear me or find me, or I'm coming in through your speakers
You're
instead.
coming in from my speakers of my second monitor.
Oh, how fun! Speaker, cell phone. That's what Luke used to say. But you can't see me. So let's move this lamp. Is that better?
Well, I can see you.
There.
It's
Am I
just
better
it
now?
was darker.
Am I brighter?
I don't know because I'm not looking at you. I'm trying to do
Okay.
what I
All right. So anyway, I'm going to tell you about my adventures while you do what you do.
okay.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I was gone for a little while, and the day I was supposed to see you, I just I needed that time for me, and I apologize because my brain just needed, and my body and my mind and my spirit just needed some reboot and refresh. So I took that time to reboot and refresh,
Good.
and you can hear me in your ears
I
now.
can hear you in my ears now.
Good. So, I was rebooting and refreshing and finding great joy in little things.
Yeah, like what?
Fire. Watching
You need to explain
like
that.
yeah, I do. Watching the fire, but watching the fire breathe. Did you know fire breathes?
Well, um, I mean, I've seen it get smaller and get bigger. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, but like it literally looks like it's breathing sometimes. And it's kind of cool. I'm going to share it with you if I can.
I mean, I've seen it. I think I know what you're talking about, where it kind of goes up and down or in and
Or
out.
the
It gets
logs
bigger and yeah,
even look like they're breathing.
yeah.
You can't see it quite as well in this one because this was a fire that was going pretty well. But when it gets down to coals and the log is lit from the inside out and the wind blows through it, it'll like flare up and then it'll go down. That wasn't quite the right video to grab, but this was another one. And I slept by the campfire even
Well, except the night that it poured down rain.
and had lightning. That was
Right.
really, really close. But yeah, so I didn't technically, yeah, you're right there. Okay. So
Can we
anyway,
just
that
keep that up because that to me
is like
that's
the Yule
very
log.
calming. Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
at Christmas time, we don't have a fireplace in our house, but what we do when we open presents is we go to the the YouTube channel that is the
Mm-hmm.
Yule log, and
Yeah.
we have that on in the background,
Mm-hmm. Hi,
so it
Alex.
crackles. And
Uh-huh.
hi, Alex. I'm sorry I'm late. Thank you for alerting us and sticking with us. Um, and yeah, I like watching fires. I like fire pit season, as somebody mentioned on the, I don't know, the radio or somewhere this morning,
Mm-hmm.
that it was fire pit season. And I'm so excited about that because we do have a fire pit. We just don't have
Oh, you
a
do? It
fireplace.
makes me want to have a fire pit, but we have so many mosquitoes that I would never use it really.
Well, you just have to put some stuff down on your grass to keep the mosquitoes away.
Yeah, but I try not to put chemicals down.
Well, get some natural repellent.
Yeah, there's something called dichotomous earth, but it just sounds kind of really difficult to do. I've researched.
Oh,
So
well,
I
no, I
just
mean,
wait till I
there's
go
like
camping.
citronella and stuff, right?
Oh, here, I can refresh it and you can keep watching it. There we
But
go.
yeah, so to me, this is it's calming, and calming is good
Mhm.
for mental health. Cooper, is it Cooper
Yeah.
or is it somebody else?
I believe that one's Cooper. Yahtzee's here
Okay,
too, but I think that's Cooper.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, poor Jonas. He's laying here now, but I have barely sat down today. And when I do, it's only at the computer for a few minutes, or it's only at another spot in the house for a few minutes because
hmm
I'm getting ready for the mental health awareness walk in
Right.
memory of Sydney tonight.
hmm
And so
I'm gonna
putting all
come.
these, I saw that you registered. Thank you. Um, and so putting all these, the final
hmm
details on everything. And that's actually what I was doing was, so
I
right
figured
now
you were.
my van door is open because I was like putting stuff in the van, and then I heard my phone ringing. So I came to check on the phone and I saw what time it was, and I went, oh
So do you
no.
need to close your van door?
No, because it's automatic that the light will go off after a couple minutes. So
Oh, okay.
it will be fine. Um, Sadly or happily, I found that out once before when I accidentally left it open.
Got it. Totally. Get
And
it.
the van is in the garage, so it's safe. So if I'm hoping that it's not going to rain. I know that the chances keep going up and down as to whether or not it's supposed to rain tonight. So,
hmm
or today in general. So, yeah. So I'm proud of you for taking time and going and taking care of your mental health and refreshing and renewing. Um, and did you revitalize any relationships?
Yes, I did.
You did. Awesome.
Um, I had opportunity to sit and chat with someone very, very late, and around the campfire. And there's that scripture, where it talks about iron sharpening iron,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty intensely sharpening. Uh, but it was good because I don't want to be stagnant. I don't want to miss an opportunity to grow and to become stronger in the Lord so that I could serve him.
Right.
And also that also helps my mental health if I'm walking and I have a clearer mind. So that was good. So I had opportunity even with just random people. It was kind of cool. They would I had a pride thing
Uh oh.
happen. Yeah, my screen house. I'll have to share a picture with that eventually.
Your screen house?
Yes, it's an older facility, older apparatus,
Okay.
and someone had offered to help take it down, and I was like, no, I think I'm going to use it my final morning there. Well, I didn't really think it through because part of this was an adventure to see. You want to stop sharing?
No, not really, but I will.
I know we can play the fire another time, but part of this was an adventure in could I go camping on my own at some point?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And in order to do that, that would have required here. Can you see that picture?
I can. Do you want everyone else to see it too?
Yeah, that the green one, that's the screen house, and it's all steel. The canopy is really nice. A single person can do it. It's literally marketed for a single person to do it. And the tent I can do. I've done that, but the screen house got me. The final day, all I had left was the screen house, the canopy, all the little knit noise stuff was put in the van or piled near the van. And I was tired.
I bet.
And And but I was like, I'm gonna do this myself. I said I was, because if I ask any for help, I'm a failure. That's the mental game I had going on in my head.
Right. So
But
wait, I gotta ask you a question though. Does
what?
that voice in your head sound like the voice you just did?
Oh yes, it does. It's like, Fran, do you really think you're going to do that? So yeah, and so I'm like, well, yes, I do. Thank you very much. But so see, they say when you argue with yourself, that's a bad thing. And when you ask yourself to repeat yourself,
Uh-huh.
but I've also seen it where I could say I'm self-employed and we're having a business
A
meeting.
business meeting. Right. I have staff
So
meetings all the time.
so that's probably was more along the lines of we were having staff meeting.
Yeah.
So I my power chair, and I'm sorry, this is really long. So my power chair was already in the van because I needed to make sure it had a home
Right.
so I could pile more stuff around it. And so it was pretty much buried, and I needed to go throw something away. And so I was like, ugh. So I'm with my roller rocker, chunking down uh to the bin, and a lady, she goes, "Hey, you look like you have everything under control. However, would you like some help? We've been watching you all morning." And I'm like, internally, I'm like, no, I'm doing this myself. In the same sense, I'm like, please help me. And so we're having this back and forth inside. And all of a sudden, it was like, you know what? I am humbling myself right now and saying, yes, I need your help. And I said, yes, please. I said, I was just looking at what I had left and I'm exhausted. The weather had changed. It was warmer we were having record breaking temperatures actually that day. And I was done. I was physically done. I was mentally done because I had done a lot of digging. And I realized I need to surrender a lot of areas in my life. And so it was a lot of mental. So God sent this lady and she came down and we just dug in, and then she kept talking, and she went and did a few other things while I folded my tent down and did my canopy. And so it was just really sweet how it ended. I got home and I was physically drained, but I was mentally alive.
That's
So
awesome. And I love the beautiful way that she approached you and said, it looks like you have everything under control. However, I would like to offer some help. And
yeah,
to acknowledge that you had it under control and you were doing it and you could continue to do it by yourself, but she wanted to walk alongside you and make that journey a tad bit easier.
right.
That's just very beautiful the way that she came and approached you with regards to this. I have a question before I stop sharing this. Is this like a rope light or what is this?
Yeah, it's those are clear rope lights that are in the grass, and red were up around the canopy.
Huh.
Just kind of helps. And then there are a few solar lights that are uh a
Oh, so
couple of them I have by the tent pegs,
mhm.
right there,
Yeah.
that one and that one, and uh, it was just nice.
Yeah.
So it was
That's a
very,
really
very nice.
nice setup that you have there. That's
It's
I would
comfy,
almost do that.
almost. But I'm gonna share a final picture, and
No,
then
I would. I don't mind
you
tent
would almost
camping,
do that.
but only
You
for
see
a
this
day or two.
picture?
Yeah,
What does
don't
that
do much.
remind you of?
Uh, Peace. Is it supposed to remind me of a place?
Uh, one of those movies.
Oh yeah, I was
You
thinking
know which
that, but
one?
I didn't know a
Yeah,
specific name of a
yeah.
movie or a
The
specific.
Circle of
Um,
Life. It just reminds me of it.
oh
Doesn't it kind of a little bit? I mean, it's not great, but
no, it's beautiful though.
so yeah, that was my final sunset there.
Oh wow.
It
See,
was really
sunsets have
neat.
always been, and sunsets over water, which is really weird because I've shared multiple times that I don't know how to swim. And that is
Right.
my biggest fear is drowning. But sunsets
Hmm.
over water have always been the most calming and peaceful place for me to be.
And that is it. Where that is neat. I like that. I wonder how many other people really like sunsets.
I don't know. If
Sunsets,
you're watching, let us know if you're a sunset, sunrise, or neither.
because when I went on a couple of Disney cruises, I purposed to get up super early so I could see this sunset. Our supper time was always at sunrises because our supper time was always at sunset, so I missed them.
Oh,
But
yeah. She does. I agree with you, Alex. She does take beautiful pictures.
thanks. All right, stop sharing for a second. I want to show you something else.
Okay.
But it was really cool. Oh, I was going to ask you if you knew what these are. Hold on, I got to get to a better picture of them.
Okay. I'm not good at on the spot pressure of can you answer this question? I really don't do well at trivia nights or in any games where I have to,
Okay. Do you know what those
quickly.
are?
No. I have several guesses, but I don't know.
Go ahead. Certain. Yes.
Well, at first I was like, they're pumpkins. And then I was like, no, they're not pumpkins. And then I was thinking maybe.
For perspective, they're sitting on my wheelchair footplate. So that tells you about the size.
So they're really tiny. So then I was thinking like they're apricots or
that big.
Peaches or I had another thing.
You're too big.
I know. I don't know what they are.
Persimmons.
Oh, I never would have guessed that. I don't think I've ever seen one.
Well, now you have. There was a persimmon tree, and it was really cool.
Is that the thing that when you cut it open, and if you look inside, if it's like a fork, it means one thing, and a spoon, it means one thing? And
a fork, a spoon, or a knife. Do you want to know what that means?
Sure.
The wives' tale. So if it is a fork, you will be eating well all winter. If it is a spoon, you will be shoveling snow all winter. And if it is a knife, it will be cutting winds all winter.
Ah. So I knew there were things associated with each one, but I didn't know what they were. So
you want a fork?
Yeah. Unless you're one of those weird people who likes really strong winds or likes a lot of snow like me.
You like snow?
I do like snow.
Okay, so here's another thing you can just play while we talk. There you go.
Oh, that's fun.
That guy, this was the windy in between the storms. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what had distracted you so much prior to our start time?
So, thank you. As I said, I'm preparing for the mental health awareness. And we had another title to it that we took out, and it was "And Suicide Prevention Walk," in memory of my daughter's best friend who lost her life to suicide in 2018. And at this time of the year is her birthday. And every year since she's passed, I have organized this walk because I don't ever want anybody else to feel the way that her family feels. I don't ever want anybody else to feel the way that I felt when I got the news. When I had to tell Violet the news, I don't want anyone to ever have that, to go through that kind of reaction of hearing something so horrible. And our mental health is so important to our physical health. It drives everything that we do, whether we realize it or not. And I can stop sharing. And so the walk is tonight, and I pretty much do the organizing of it on my own. And that's kind of by choice because there's not a whole lot that I can really farm out to people. And so, and then plus I have it up here, how I want things to be and go. And, and so, and this year, for whatever reason, actually, a lot of my behind the scenes helpers have not been available. And so some of the stuff that I have been able to get help with or had other people do, I'm having to do this year, which is not a big deal, but it's just I was distracted and focused on that and completely lost track of time and was not paying attention at all. And so, yeah, I wanted to talk about mental health today because it is so important for everybody. And to have unhealthy mental health, it doesn't discriminate. I mean, there are some sicknesses, some diseases, whatever you want to call them, that, one population, one characteristic of a population tends to experience that more. But mental health is everybody, no matter how old, how young, how rich, how poor, whether you're urban or rural or suburban or whatever your socioeconomic standing is. And so it truly does affect everybody. And with the pandemic in the last couple of years, the mental health of our entire society has decreased because people don't talk about it when they feel bad. There's still that stigma that, you're crazy if you go see a psychiatrist or a counselor or a social worker. There's something really wrong with you if you acknowledge that you need help. And counselors are amazing. Social workers, therapists, whatever term you want to use, whatever title of the person you go see. It has done tremendous for me over the, 30 something years off and on that I've seen counselors. It's a chance for me to share what I'm feeling without worrying about how the person listening to what I'm sharing is going to react. And I'm not worried about that they're going to love me less or like me less or think differently of me or, all the things that, at least for me, I would think about when I would share my feelings with somebody. And, so we all have that. We all have something that we hold back. And for a lot of people, that something gets piled on top of something, gets piled on top of something, gets piled on top, until it's so much that we really need to have a professional to help us unpack all those layers. And there's nothing wrong with that. And we really have to, in my opinion, stop blaming people for having depression or anxiety or suicidal thoughts or whatever other negative mental health things that you can think about, because we don't feel that way on purpose. To tell somebody when they come to you and they say, I just don't feel right today, or, I'm upset about this. To just poo-poo that person or their feelings isn't helpful. Telling them, well, don't feel that way. I mean, if somebody comes to you and says, or if you read it on Facebook or whatever, and somebody has said, this life is too hard, or I just feel like killing myself, or my life doesn't matter. As uncomfortable as it is, don't just say to that person, oh, your life matters, you'll be fine, or don't talk that way, because that person is crying out to you at that moment. And you need to take them seriously, and you need to talk with them, even if it's just for a few minutes. And if it gets to the point where you feel that it's too much for you as an individual, then help that person find a professional.
Do you have all those numbers and everything?
They're all packed away already in the van.
Okay, that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, there's the suicide hotline, there's
Mm-hmm.
the teen hotline, there's and I could probably pull up the document where I had them.
It's
Uh,
okay. Don't worry about it. We'll just put it. You'll just put it in the comments when we're done. How's that sound?
that sounds fine.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, um, there's texting. You don't even have to talk to the person anymore. They can actually text back and forth. They have those kinds of things. And if you're worried about COVID and being in a room face to face, there's telemedicine now for therapists. They all had to shift last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's lots and lots of ways that you can access an objective person um, who's a professional or who has been trained. I feel like I have a counseling degree because I've been through my own counseling for so long, and I've learned different things through different trainings because of teaching and because of doing this mental health walk that, I'm a good listener, but I've also learned, like, I don't want to say the right phrases, but better phrases and better ways to say things. Like I said, if somebody comes and says something to you, don't just tell them, oh, stop feeling that way, or you don't have anything to worry about, or what are you anxious about, or what are you sad about, as if it is on purpose that they're feeling this way.
A favorite is I've heard is suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah.
Um, it's not the most appropriate thing to say when someone comes up to you and says, you know, I see no reason to keep going.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think that's why it's so important that uh, that this walk is supported, that you continue to do this, and and that you do it when you do it. That because not only is it important about raising awareness, I think it's also helpful in supporting those who have lost someone because of suicide. Um, it allows for healing.
Yeah. It does. Sometimes it's for those who have experienced it. Sometimes it's too hard, though, to face this. So, I'm trying to look up. There was a whole series, and it's in my notes, but there's a channel that you can listen to on. Here it is. Maybe this is it. Um, so yeah, so sometimes coming to an event like this is too much for a person who has lost a loved one, but I agree with you. It is something that needs to
Mm.
be
Alex,
continued
you're
in.
so right. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, you're right.
so I think it's this one. And I know I'm going to get in trouble, so I'm not actually going to play the music because then I won't get in trouble. Um, but I am going to share my screen and show you. Yeah, Alex, absolutely. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to just listen. Can you hear the music in the background?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Um, so there's a whole channel on YouTube.
I need to stop sharing so you can share.
No, it's not what it is.
Okay.
It's just taken me a minute to, with the having the multiple screens now. I'm just not sure.
To learn how to share it.
Yeah. Um, so there's this channel, and all I did was type in. It's called Instant Relief from Stress and Anxiety. So sometimes just listening to this music, and like I said, I don't want to play it very long. Because I don't want to get us in trouble again, because it is on YouTube and it is not quite the sharing platform that I always thought it was. I thought I could always share stuff, but apparently not. So, but yeah, there's music that you can listen to that will help. There are sound machines. There's lots and lots of different tools to use to help when you're in a situation like what you did at the beginning, showing the your fire pit, and just watching that and just taking a few seconds to breathe. um, you know there's in the moment, and then there's learning to deal with it on a regular basis. Is it sideways, or is it my
Um,
imagination?
no, it's not sideways. It's just the angle. The fire's up against the side of the pit, so
Oh,
you're,
okay.
and it's so dark, you're only getting part of it.
Right.
And this was in the. I
This,
built a fire in the middle, and you see the wind, how it breathes, and
yeah.
I built a fire every night in the middle of the night because I was up, so why not build a fire?
Right. Exactly.
Except the rainy nights.
Yeah.
Hey, can I talk on that? What you were talking about, sometimes you just need to, and then sometimes you need to be able to stop sharing. Sometimes you need to, because I haven't talked too much about my own. We've talked about yours, but I've been kind of silent for
Yeah.
a really long time. But I mean, I too have dealt for since. mm, when I was in junior high, I think is the grades. Uh, Probably about then onward. I've fought. Sometimes I've battled, and sometimes I've quit with mental health all the way through it, up and down and around. And much like when we talk about the journey of where I am with my kiddos and their health and dealing, or where we are with them and dealing with the dreams and rebooting the dreams with them versus the dreams that I thought prior to them being born, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, I'd like to say I've journeyed quite a while. um, at one point I was in a state hospital um, for a while, and that was a very eye-opening experience for me in many ways to realize that I wasn't alone, and also I wasn't as bad as I thought I was in some ways, and I was worse than I thought I was in other ways.
Right.
But I realize now, and I didn't even, probably prior to my stroke, I didn't take mental health as seriously as I do now because I have come to realize that is as important of a component of maintaining in my well-being as my physical, as putting my braces on my hands and my legs and my shoulder. Taking care of my mental health is just, if not more important than maintaining my physical health.
Yeah. And I
So,
think that is, sorry to interrupt you. I think
no,
that
that's
is
okay.
very key, is a lot of people don't take it as seriously as it should be
It,
taken.
yeah, and it is, and I found that it's so important to check in with those around me, whether I'm checking in to tell them I'm okay or, hey, I'm really not okay right now. And I
Right.
might just send a text saying, hey, could you just be praying for me? Or do you have a moment? I just need to get something off. Or if someone comes to mind, taking that time just to shoot a text off. Because um, if you don't have time for a full length conversation, to send a text to somebody and say, hey, you are on my heart, you're on my mind, thinking of you, praying for you, however you want to say it, can sometimes be the biggest booster and lift to someone that's buried under those layers about what you were speaking. And it just sometimes kind of, um, how you take like a log and or a stick and you push up on it to try to lift up to take a little pressure off of something so you can pull something out of the middle. So kind of the same thing. Just that text takes a little bit of that weight off for just that moment to allow someone to go, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And so my suggestion is, you know the people that are near and dear to you. You know the people around you. Don't don't let pride or fear of being hurt, and that's, I think, a really big thing. Fear of being hurt stop you from reaching out to those around you
Yeah.
because they may lash out in the moment, but you're reaching out might have been what needed to be done for them to lash out, to let that energy out. And
Yeah.
hopefully down the road they would be able to realize, or they might not even remember. And then you just have to be the bigger person and go, okay, that was the moment, and we moved on.
Right.
And let me preface this here. I am not a professional. I am only speaking from my personal experiences, but I'm speaking from my heart, and I just wanted to share it.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because yeah, some of that is stuff that I didn't know, and I don't know how much our audience knows, because every person is on a different level of their relationship with you. So I appreciate you sharing that, and I feel, and there are statistics to back this up. I don't have them handy, but that men have it the hardest because they're not told by society that they can express how they feel. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
they're shunned and made fun of in a lot of instances, and called names and told they're weak if they share how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And we really have got to do a better job of not saying those things to everyone, but specifically to men, because men feel they have the exact same makeup as far as that goes as women do. And, every person feels things differently. So, you and
Mm-hmm.
I could experience the exact same moment, and you have one level of it, and I have a different level of it. And so, that's going to happen to everybody no matter what they're facing, whether that's a man or a woman. And we've had too many men who have died by suicide. I don't know why we keep freezing. I'm not getting any messages this time
No,
about my
I'm not
internet
either.
connection. Where the one day that you guys were having the issues, especially when I went back and looked at the replay, because I wanted to see what you guys were talking about, it was definitely me. But I had been getting like a signal from my internet connector
Mm-hmm.
that I was not having the best connection that day. But I'm not getting that today, so I'm not sure why it's doing that.
Sorry, Alex.
Yeah, I hate that for you. But hopefully it's maybe just your computer and not ours, and maybe if you watch it in the replay it won't do that. But I can't guarantee that because I do not understand the technology behind how this all works. So
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I think we're getting better about understanding that our teens struggle with a lot more things than what we used to. We just now also need to shift that thought about men. Because I think it's men ages 18 to 50, or no, I don't know. I'd have to look. We actually have a proclamation here in our town for this whole weekend is Mental Health
Mm-hmm.
Weekend. And I had looked up the statistics for that proclamation. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, and they're sad. I mean, it's very awful. And I don't usually go over the statistics, but trying to look in where it is.
Well, I mean, I know while you're looking, I was thinking of the veterans.
Yeah, they're another very,
And how, like, with the current events and stuff, how the calls into their hotline have increased so much, and the rates are not going down, even raising awareness. So,
yeah. So here's a couple of, this isn't what I was looking for this particular thing, but it is what we talked about a minute ago. So I'm going to bring this over and put this here. Hopefully it pops up. So that's some of the hotline numbers that we talked about.
Okay.
And here is something that I give out at the walk that I'm also going to add. So this is what you can say to somebody when you are feeling that you need help, especially if you're a child. But I mean, you can certainly sort of tweak this and make it so that it fits, your situation. See, I have so much stuff in my files for this that now I can't. It's weird that I can't find the proclamation quickly. Oh, but yeah, it's a big issue. It's one that I feel we can't stop talking about, because there are so many people, as you said, the military, our veterans. We tend to. This is the old one, but in 2018. Nope, that's not the right one. Sorry. That was my example of what I was supposed to use to write our proclamation. Oh, this is annoying. I apologize, everybody. Let's see if I can find.
So, while you're looking,
Uh-huh.
what are some ways to take care of our own mental health? What are some ways when we're so despondent? What are some ways that have helped you? What are some ways that have helped me? Maybe if someone's listening, what are some ways that have helped you get out of that deep, dark hole?
One of the things for me that was super eye-opening, well, it's two things. So counseling, most definitely. But, that only happens once a week or once a month, or, it's not an every minute thing. But I had a counselor tell me one time that, and this applied to me. I'm not saying that this applies to everybody. Part of my anxiety and my depression came from, whenever I would go into a room. And by the way, I just wrote a blog a couple of weeks ago and released it about my anxiety and what it is like for me. So if anybody wants to read that, just go to my website, shelleykino.com/blog, and it should be the first one that would pop up. But for me, for my anxiety, if I walked into a room and within a second or two of walking into that room, people started laughing, or they started, talking, I immediately assumed that they were talking or laughing at or about me.
Mm-hmm.
And that made my anxiety, because then I thought, well, then I started thinking, oh, I'm ugly. Oh, I'm stupid. Oh, this, I had all these negative thoughts about myself. And what he told me was that was extremely self-centered of me to think that in all the world, every time someone laughed and I happened to be in that space, it was about me. Or every time someone had a conversation when I walked in, as if the whole room just stopped and went, oh, Shelley's here. And all the attention was drawn to me. And so for me, that was eye-opening, was, oh yeah, that is very self-centered to think that everything is about me all the time. Mm-hmm. Now, he probably said it because, as I'm saying it, it doesn't sound as profound as when he said it to me. But maybe it was because that's what I needed to hear, for my situation, for me to sort of be able to break through feeling like what everybody was saying or laughing about had something to do with me. Mm-hmm. Another thing that for me has been very huge is that irrational thinking, which is exactly what that was. And And we tend to do that, and that is across the board, because anxiety stems from a lot of irrational thinking of, this if I get a C minus on a test and I normally get A's, this is the end of the world, because now all my grades are going to fail. I'm going to drop out. I'm not going to go to college. My life, I'm not going to get a good job. And we just start doing this spiral. But that's irrational. It's one grade. It's one test. It's one assignment that was missed or got a lower grade on it. It's one moment in time, if it's not having to do with grades. If you failed at something that you tried, instead of being proud of yourself because you tried it, I focus, and most people focus on the fact that it wasn't successful. And because that one thing wasn't successful, we suddenly start to feel like we're not successful at anything. And we get again into that spiral, into that irrational thinking. So recognizing that irrational thinking and catching myself when I start to have those irrational thoughts. Those have probably been the biggest helps for me on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
What about you?
Thanks. Well, I'm going to look at it at a couple different angles. So I have an agreement with a friend that if I get so despondent that I feel like there is no other out except to end my life, I have to contact them. And that friend has said that they're not going to stop me, but they want to know what's going on and they want to talk to me prior to me doing that. And just even having that agreement, and I have the freedom to contact this friend at any time with that issue.
Right.
If it's I'm having a bad day, I don't have that freedom to call this person. I mean, I probably could, but
right, it's different.
The caveat of this whole agreement was there is no parameter that I am to call no matter what time of day, whatever is going on, even if I know other things are going on in that person's life. It kind of reminds me of, do you remember that phone that in Batman, that phone line that they would always pick up?
Oh,
yeah. It's kind of that same concept. You could use it anytime. So I have that, but at the times where I know I'm not at that place in life, but I know I'm really struggling or something, a lot of times it's either catching myself in faulty thinking or having those around me feel comfortable enough to speak truth into my life.
Right.
And I am grateful. Sometimes in the moment, it's a little hard, but it's good for them to say, hey, you've got some really faulty thinking going on here, Fran. This is not the end of the world. Yes, what you had planned did not happen. Right. It did not come off the way you wanted it to, I know you put time, effort, energy, money, etc. into this thing, and it didn't happen. But it doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't even mean it failed. It just wasn't meant to happen at that moment. And it's not a reflection of you. It just didn't happen. And I've had to have people speak that into me. And that's why previously when we were talking, I wanted to make sure that we do have people in our lives that are willing to speak truth into it. Because though we could say, I could say to you, oh, Shelley, it's life's okay. It's okay. You're gonna be okay. There's never gonna be these struggles. You're never gonna go through this again. I can't tell you that because right. I can't. But I can say, you know what, Shelley? I know that you believe in God, and I know that God's word is full of promises, and I know you can lean into those. So when you're feeling down, have you been in the word? Have you had opportunity? Have you prayed about it? So I can speak that into your life. And that's why it's important that we have those people in our life that are willing to speak unfiltered truth with us, is what I call it.
Yeah. And that's fabulous that you have people like that in your life. And I think I have people like that in my life as well. But I did just want to pop this up while you were talking about that, because um, not everybody has someone like that.
Right.
And not everybody has someone that they feel that they can be, again, totally 100%
Hmm.
raw and honest with about how they're feeling. Um, and
And I
so,
haven't always had that in my life. I can be
right,
honest, but I am blessed. I know I'm blessed, and I am grateful that I do now.
right. And I've got, like, the first one is the 24-hour hotline for suicide prevention. And then the last one is here in Illinois. But I'm sure that there are numbers like this in your own state. But if you're not in Illinois, if you used one of these this 800 number here, 800-273-8255, or you text home to 741-741, you can do that from anywhere in the country. And that will get you help, and get you somebody to speak with. And like I said, this texting one, um, they can just text you back and forth. And there's a Spanish version. So you type in hablar. I don't know how to say it. I probably just butchered that. I apologize. You type in HABLAR for Spanish
I'm
speaking
not
help.
even trying.
And I'm not
We're
going to be the one to
German,
help
we might be
you. So,
closer, but I don't know.
but yeah, I mean, and that's another point, is mental health issues are not just in the United States. They're
Hmm.
everywhere. Um, And then I do just want to quickly, let me see if I can get the right version popped up, because the YouTube version kind of cuts it off. But yeah, um, if you need help, whether you're an adult or not, I mean, if you're a kid or not, if you're an adult, change this wording a little bit, um, you know, to just say, I need help. I'm afraid I'm going to kill myself. I felt this way, and then you put in the time. Um, Please believe me. Maybe you don't believe me because, I'm your spouse, or I'm your best friend, or I'm your parent, or,
Hmm.
whatever relationship it is. Um, you want to reach out. You want to get the help. And sometimes we are, no matter if we're adults or kids, we're just unable to do it at that moment without seeking help. We might just be in such a state that we just cannot get ourselves to the place that we need to go. And so
Right.
reaching out to someone and saying those things, or just handing them a piece of paper with that information on it, if you even literally can't speak in that moment, or at that time in your life. um, you know I'm happy. Well, I mean, that sounds weird. I'm not happy to help. I'm willing to help you go through that. um, I'm not happy to do it because that means you're in a bad way. So that, I don't want to say I'm happy, because then that sounds like I'm happy that you're in a bad way, and that's not what I mean. But you know,
I'm
I'm
willing
I'm
to walk
willing to help.
alongside.
Yeah. And people have said to me, oh, what you're doing is great. And Sydney's parents have commented that too. And you know, normally if I'm helping someone, I do say, oh, I'm happy to help. I'm not happy to help in this situation. I wish with everything that I have that there was not a need for this walk. I wish with everything that I had that I never had to talk to her parents, and to console them, and to walk alongside them on this journey. And
Hmm.
it's so devastating. And for those who might be thinking, oh, I don't have anyone in my life who would be devastated if I wasn't here, you are absolutely 100% wrong. There are people who will be devastated if you are not here anymore. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you are. I don't care what you think you've done that's so horrible that you can't come back from it. People will be devastated.
Mm.
Okay, well, on that happy note, but if anybody is listening, I am 100% truthful in that statement. There will be people who will be devastated, and it's 3.5 years since we lost Sydney, and none of us are better. None of us have gotten over it. None of us have forgotten her or what she meant to us or how her life impacted our lives. So if you are a person sitting there listening to this and thinking, I don't have those people in my life, yes, you do. You absolutely do. You may not know them. You may not think that the ones that you do know would feel this way, but they absolutely will. So please get help. Don't do anything permanent other than get help.
Don't give up.
Yeah, absolutely. I apologize that this has been a heavy episode. This is the state that I'm in today. This is a heavy day for me. This is a heavy week for me. Sydney's birthday is October 5th. And so the walk is always at this time of the year. And October 10th, 1988 is when I tried to take my own life. So October's a tough month for me, but I'm still here. And I'm so thankful that I was not successful and that I have the beautiful life that I have now. And I still have struggles, but I have help, and I know I'm okay. And I know I'm going to continue to be okay today, tomorrow, and the day after that. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us late. Thank you, Alex, for sticking with us. Thank you, Fran, for alerting me that I was not aware of what time it was, and for bringing me back to reality and in the moment. And
Can you share this picture to end?
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
you don't mind.
Yeah. Another
So
beautiful picture.
when you feel there is no hope, I just ask that you walk outside. Thank you, Jill. I ask that you just step outside and listen to nature and take a breath.
Yeah.
Before you make a decision, just step out and take a breath and then take another breath. And you're going to find that each breath, the weight gets a little less. And if you don't reach out, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Look in the chat. There's all kinds of information. And we don't know you, but we do pray for you guys. And we are there.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. Jill, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us today and for commenting. And Alex, again, thank you. I don't think I missed anybody else. Sometimes my eyes were filled with tears and I couldn't read, but I think we got them.
Yeah.
Fran, have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks.
And we will see you next week, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Everybody have a blessed week and have good mental health.
Yes.